Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of SpeedSim. My name is Andre.
And I'm E-House.
And today, we're going to be talking the pros and cons versus wearing a full face mask or the lower face mesh and goggle combo. So we're just going to go ahead and give you like a little bit of pros and cons, whether which one will fit you most in different situations. So to start off with, full face mask. Now, personally, I would recommend you wear a full face mask whenever you can, because not only does it give you ear protection and full seal eye protection, especially like the dyes have a full 180 degree view, so you don't really feel that you have a face mask on. But on top of that, it saves you from your mouth, and your grills cost a lot of money to fix up again from the dentist if you don't have insurance. And even if you do have insurance, it's still pretty costly.
Yeah. Well, what else is nice about paintball masks versus these is you can get gaps in between.
That is true. Depending on what, even like if you buy like certain goggles, like the or those Smith Optics ones, those really tiny low pro ones, there's a lot of gaps that I see.
Yeah.
So if you can't fill those gaps in, beavers are going to hit and improve it.
Yeah. So I mean, you're gonna get the gap where basically paintball mask way better coverage.
Right.
Like no one can argue that. They give better coverage all the time, forever, because they're a solid piece that goes all over your face, 180 degrees.
Right.
Then you've got the mesh where, you've got the two pieces and you can get gaps in between those. And you can also get it where it might not sit quite right on your face, it can jostle more.
And I've seen some people wear these kind of like setups, and some of them have like such a small face that it doesn't look right.
That totally wrecks your cheek weld.
Let's be honest, like 9 out of 10%, 9 out of 10, airsoft is about fashion, and when it looks weird, it looks so weird. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just like, when
if
you
it
look
works,
at
it works.
Yeah, right. If it works, just do it. But like, I've seen some people like, it looks really weird, or some people have really big faces, and it doesn't cover all the way. I was like, wow.
Like me.
Woo. No, you have your one Tigress.
Well, the one Tigress does good, but we don't have it here, unfortunately, because I didn't bring it with me. But yeah, so then, that's the big pro of the, paintball mask, is that all coverage, all the time. These struggle with that. But the pro of these is arguably, and depending on what ones you use, you do get some breathability there with the mesh. Because, some of them can trap heat, like the one Tigress one has the air mesh that still traps a little bit of heat. But the thing is with the dye mask, I don't really feel that much heat trapping. But what's nice about these also is they're cheap.
And they're MilSim legal.
Well, yeah, a lot of MilSim games don't want you to use.
I know you went to American MilSim.
American MilSim, they'll let you use dye masks. Really? MilSim West doesn't want you. Yeah, they don't want you using paintball masks. MilSim West doesn't want you using paintball masks because they want the more immersive MilSim experience, and a mesh mask doesn't quite look as paintball-y. But American MilSim, Lion Claws, Emsato, Centurion, they don't really care.
Yeah, no. That's what I wore.
But yeah, these look more tactical. But at the same time, it's one of those things. Right. But the big advantage I see with them is helmet integration.
Yeah.
Because I usually, and if you actually look at pictures of me on the field, if I'm not wearing a helmet, a lot of times I'm wearing my dye mask. Yep. Because the dye mask I find to be super comfortable, and I find it does really well, even with, it's not as good of a cheek weld as my one Tigress mask, but it's not bad because I have the riser on my gun. So the dye mask I find to be super comfortable if you're not wearing a helmet, but if you're wearing a helmet,
these are super easy to mod for any arc rails attachments that you have.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen like you and a lot of other people, they literally eliminate most of the crap that's on these lower face masks and make their own attachments for arc rails. Yep. Which is pretty cool. They're really versatile. As far as like full paintball mask, you really can't do integration unless you do like a heavy modification. I've seen it done.
To the helmet.
Right, to the helmet.
And I have a $300 Team Wendy. I'm not chopping that thing off.
Yeah, so that is like a little bit of pros and cons there. This is not so universal for helmets, although I have seen it and they do look cool if you buy the Repro Ops Core or something like that. You can make them look pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen some people mod them to integrate, and that does.
When it's done right, it looks pretty.
If you have a cheap helmet and you're willing to do some dremeling and you're creative, you can make it look really good.
It does look pretty cool. But like I said, with the goggles and the lower face mask, it has just a lot more versatility for arc rails. You can do whatever you want. I've even seen people do with the goggles where they make it with the Velcro on the side so they come right off, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So that's the pros and for that as far as that goes. And then, like we said, for the cons, it's a lot of gaps and
Yeah.
And I guess another pro would be you can use whatever goggles you really want. If like there's a specific goggle that you really like, you can integrate them wherever you want. So that's really nice.
Yeah, well, I've run my one Tigris mask. I've run that with my ESS goggles, and I've run that with my Oakley M frames. And it works with both of them because, you know, obviously it's just the lower part. Now it's got a lot more gaps in between with the Oakley M frames, as we were just talking about being a con. But my mouth is still protected and my eyes are still protected. Just the rest of my squishier face, there's a few gaps there.
Right. So personally, I'd rather just use a full-on face mask because I've had a lot of scares. I got BBs caught in my mouth. Not that they broke anything, but I've caught them in my mouth. And I just like the overall look that it gives you, and then the protection is just a plus. But I guess the negative would be that in really hot summer conditions, it does make you feel a little hot on the inside, so you have a harder time breathing. So there's a big negative on that.
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, heat trapping can be a con with the full face masks, but to a certain extent, as long as you're drinking water, because my thing is, you know, I can actually, because my face is so large, I can still get my Camelback hose under there, and that kind of helps with that.
Right.
These, though, honestly, in a lot of cases, these are actually, I find, harder to get water under. Because unless you're using like a fabric-sided one that you can kind of hinge a lot more, but these you have to like pull them way off your face to get water and whatnot under there. Whereas with the paintball masks, ironically, I find that the little bit of a standoff they get from your face makes that a little easier, that you can just tilt it slightly. Whereas with these, you really got to kind of pull them off your face. So other people may have different experiences depending on the shape of their face, but you know, I've got a kind of a big jawline, I've got a very prominent nose and big cheekbones, so for me, the full contact that gets made, it ends up needing that kind of lift.
So as far as paintball masks go, if our pro, if you do a lot of action camera stuff, mounting stuff on these is super easy. There's a lot of different mounts. You got the Brain Exploder GoPro mount that goes right on the top of the grills here on top of the mask. You got the contour mount that can stick right onto the lens. There is, you know, kind of like that pro and negative kind of thing on whether or not you should stick stuff to your lens. Although if this is a lens that you really like, slap those guys on there, and to buy extra ones, I mean, it's not that expensive. You can slap a whole bunch of them on different lenses if you want to swap them later on. So that is a plus on those. As far as like goggle and lower face mask combo, you can't do anything to them. No. So if you like a lot of first-person action camera stuff, then maybe you probably want to lean more towards a paintball mask style, or you can wear a helmet with that and then kind of mount it on there. So,
well, because I kind of built my helmet to be a filming platform, but that's the thing is you get to skip that step if you're using a paintball mask, because you can just buy a mount compatible with your mask. With these, you really got to buy other stuff and film a different way. So in terms of just a raw mask mount application, there's no camera mounting for this. All right, so for comfort, I like my one Tigris mask a lot. But again, if I'm not reffing, if I'm not wearing my helmet, and if I'm like reffing, or if I'm just gonna be out there all day, I gotta be honest with you, I kind of like the dye mask specifically.
It goes in and off real quickly, you don't have to really worry.
And because it doesn't have, mesh masks make contact with your face.
Especially on cold days.
Yeah, on cold days or hot days. And they make contact with your face. So you can get areas where it kind of rubs and gets raw, or it imprints, or there's some friction there. Whereas with a paintball mask, the dye mask specifically, which I guess this ended up just being because we love the dye mask.
It doesn't matter. There's a variety of different
There's so many different paintball masks. But the only contact those really make with you is usually a padded ear section, if they even make contact with the ears. Some of them will stand off from the ears. And the soft foam around the goggle. You're not getting a bunch of contact with the rest of your face. So I think there is a bit of a comfort edge with the paintball mask, depending on whether or not you like having just the eye and the ear contact. For me, if you're using, say, and I think this is where the one Tigris mask kind of meets halfway, I think these full mesh masks are way more uncomfortable. Because they press way more on your cheeks and your cheekbones.
When a couple of years ago, about five or so years ago, I had to go to I didn't have to, but I went to California to go play and try out different fields, and they required full face protection. Now, because in the area that we are, full face protection was never really required. So when I went to California and they required full face protection, I was kind of out of my element. And so I grabbed real quick a lower face mask and some goggle combo because that's what I used back then. And I gotta say, like, it was super uncomfortable. It rubbed all up here.
Yeah.
Cheek weld was terrible. I ended up using my KWA MP7 most of the time just because I could like actually look down the sights, and my M4 was flip flopping, either working or not. But if I had the die back then, I would have been so much better off playing, because with the lower face, oh man, no.
Yeah, and
now I find that comfortable at all.
And I think that's where like the One Tigress mask that I use and those other fabric sided mesh masks, that's where you get the halfway point where they're more comfortable than this, but they still make contact with your face.
Yep, and they're legal for all major milsim.
Yeah, and they're legal for major milsim games, and they're compatible with your helmet, and they let you get a good cheek weld. But I still don't think they quite reach the total standoff comfort of a paintball mask, because you still have something actually making physical contact with your face at all times.
Yep.
So it's just, you gotta weigh your pros and cons of what your setup is gonna do and what you want it to do.
Or if you have multiple and you can use them a variety of different ways. So like
if
you
me.
If you go into like a regular open day and you just feel like throwing something on, grab yourself a paintball mask. If you go into like something major like a Milsim West game, then pick up one of those with a Tigress one. I wouldn't recommend those ones.
Yeah.
They kind of suck.
Or if you're nuts and you don't like wearing face protection if you don't have to, because
I got money for grills.
Yeah, so I like I've said in previous videos, I don't prefer to wear face protection if I don't have to, but since running the die mask more and the One Tigress mask more, I've really warmed to it. So I'm not going to sit here and recommend that you all go out and not wear face protection.
I would advise against that, just because I know how much dental costs.
Yeah.
And I have scares when I was in Cali and locally.
Yeah.
I don't like BBs in my face, because this is the money maker right here.
But yeah, so for face protection options, I would personally recommend a fabric-sided mesh mask in combination with goggles if you're looking to run a helmet or if you're looking to run a more milsim-friendly setup. But I'm going to agree with Andre on this one. For open plays and for, if you don't run a helmet, and for, just a wide variety of uses, a paintball mask, especially the newer, more modern paintball masks like the die masks that
Not your OG JT ones, because...
Yeah, because those didn't give a great cheek weld.
They're bulky.
Yeah, this gives a way better
why
cheek
they're
weld, and
masks.
the more sloped sides give a way better cheek weld.
And, if you do have the money and you can invest into it, the die ones are great because they're really malleable and you can get really nice cheek weld on them. All right, guys. So this has been pros and cons for their lower face mask and full paintball masks. My name is Andre.
And I'm E-House.
And thanks for watching.
Welcome to SpeedSim 2017. It only gets worse.
Shot show.
Yes, you will. Peace.
Bye. Oh.
I am the captain now.
Let's do this. We got this. All right. Good. Yeah, man. I fucking hate you so much. Just wait till shot show.
This is the first episode of SpeedSim we're recording since before the holidays.
Well, yeah, and then we got shot show too. So.
And I just want the audience to understand that, like, over the holidays, I did a lot of reflecting on my life, on where I'm at, on my friends and family, and the people that I choose to associate with. And one person I reviewed, and they came up lacking. Yet here I am. Oh my god.
That went real deep.
I'll go real deep.
Welcome to 2017. That's all.
Welcome to Gun Gamers 2017. It's all downhill from here.
All right, guys. So these are the pros and cons for full face mask and lower face mask. All right, guys. So this has the pros.
For paintball mask.
I know. Got this. You got your mouth, which is very important because dentist's shit is super expensive. Super duper expensive. Just getting your grills all hooked up again.
Your grills.
Your grills all hooked up.
Your bear grills. Get that Gerber survival knife stuck in your teeth.
We're gonna eat a bug.
Better drink my own piss. 2017, everybody. Oh God, it's opening.
Oh, you break
Get in
it?
front of me, Andre. You're my shield.
Well, you're pretty bold dropping us right here in broad daylight. Where's the shotgun when you need it?
Oh no, Andre, where's your fucking Troy PAR you keep saying you're gonna buy? Yeah, but you can only pew 10 times because we live in New York.